over there.
Get on up.
Everybody right there.
Get into it.
Everybody right there.
Get involved.
Everybody just come on up.
Today's guest is Dana Estrada from Border Community Service. She'll be here to talk to us a little bit about emergency preparedness and what to do in a winter storm or something more catastrophic. Thanks for being here, Dana.
Thank you.
So we talked a little bit on the show about this past November as well as the October storm of 2006. Is that correct? What were some of the biggest issues we saw in the most recent storm?
In the most recent storm, most people, it was surreal, it was novel that we had that much snow. Most people were able to weather that. The biggest issue was people with medical emergencies, particularly people that had dialysis and couldn't get to their dialysis center or anything similar to that. Not being able to access their emergency rooms or their hospitals, medical facilities. And then we had in-home things that were a concern that people may not have remembered. So venting your furnace, making sure that the snow doesn't pile up outside of your vent. Okay, you need to dig those things out. We had a lot of roof problems, snow that was very, very heavy, impacting our structures, trying to get that snow off, things like that, which are different issues than we had in the October storm where we lost power. And that was, to me, the big game changer in that storm was the lack of power, which obviously throws everything into upheaval in your home. I think that's sometimes a little harder for people to be able to deal with.
Yeah, most definitely. What do you suggest to be more prepared for a storm? What are some supplies that we can keep at our homes or in our cars?
First of all, everyone, this is not a suggestion, it is everyone needs to do this, and that is to assemble supplies, getting a kit for your own home, having supplies pre-assembled, put in a plastic tote or a cardboard box or a backpack, things that you will need during an emergency. There are a couple things that you obviously need, and that is clean water. It's not always a given, and not even during a snowstorm. I mean, last year, Toledo, Ohio, 100,000 people were without water because their drinking source was impacted by toxic algae blooms, right, fertilizer runoff and things like that. So 100,000 people without water for 3 days. That is something, we have the same drinking source as Toledo, Ohio. So that is something that you absolutely can handle, and that is getting clean water stored and stockpiled in your own home should we have anything like that, okay? 1 gallon per person per day. There are ways to bleach water, but it's just easier if you put that water aside. Food, enough for each family member. The bare recommendation is 3 days of having food and water in your home, but that's woefully inadequate if you look at our last year's storm. So you want to have at least 5 days or 7 days of food and water stockpiled in your home. Things that have long shelf lives, right? Bread and water or bread and milk are the first things that fly off the shelves, but you want to make sure you have peanut butter or canned goods, granola, anything that has a long shelf life, so you can accommodate your family. And then you're going to have other things. You're going to have a battery-powered radio, so you can receive important messages from the city of Buffalo, Erie County, Niagara County, if you're up there, or the state, okay? They're going to tell you if you need to shelter in place or evacuate your home, if schools are closed, right? Anything like that. If there is an impending storm, you absolutely need a battery-powered radio. You also need, I think, a NOAA radio, which is a weather radio, something that tells you if there is an immediate, impactful weather event coming your way. There are expensive versions of that, but the cheapest version is about $20, and it will just go to the closest weather station that you have. And then you need camping lanterns, flashlights, first aid kits, maybe a breathing mask to cover your nose and your mouth if there's something airborne that's outside. And I'm not talking OSHA approved, right? I'm talking inexpensive, something that you have immediately if you need it to get out of an area. You may need your information written down. So your birth certificate, your social security number, your medical information, your prescriptions, what are you taking? It's not, just saying I'm on a blood pressure medication doesn't help you, but knowing the dosage and what it is important. Having your insurance information, medical, homeowners, renters, anything like that. Maybe a utility bill proving that you live somewhere. Those are all important. Phone numbers written down, you can't rely on the fact that your cell phone will give you that information, right? Cell phones die. You may not be able to look them up. You need to have all of those things written down. So is where your children spend their time, your spouse's workplace, your parents' workplace, or maybe the community center they spend time in. You want to make sure you have all of that information. You could also go to www.ready.gov to get other ideas of things that you may need. And that's really helpful. And not only, those are not the end-all be-all, you're going to have to think about your own family and make sure you accommodate any special needs that you may have.
Thank you, Dana, for that. Those are all great points and some things that I didn't think of myself. So I'm also thinking about supplies such as ladders, snow blowers, and perhaps different tools that not everybody has. During the show, you had mentioned the idea of a lending library. Would you be able to speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Perhaps you don't want to invest, or you see no need in having a chainsaw or a snow blower. Maybe you have somebody that takes care of your snow removal, anything like that. But everyone should have certain things. And if you're not willing to take that on yourself, perhaps you can get with a collaborative of your neighbors and you look at the supplies that you may need during any sort of emergency, catastrophic disaster. And one person holds all of those tools and people are able to borrow them. So other things would be a roof rake. We said a chainsaw. Maybe somebody has a generator. Maybe you need walkie-talkies for communication issues. Maybe your phone system no longer works. So how are you going to communicate with other people on your street? Ladders, I think we mentioned. So you're going to take all of those tools and put them in one place. A roof rake, if I hadn't said it. And everyone can have the access to borrow those things as needed. Also know your own limitations. If you cannot shovel because you have medical conditions, don't try to shovel. You're going to hook up with your neighbors and find someone that can help you out. Okay, and have multiple shovels in that collaborative or that lending library, because shovels break, and even simple things like shovels are hard to find during a winter storm, if you can even get out to get them.
Well, we are the city of good neighbors, so these are also a couple more suggestions to give us to reach out to our neighbors, when the snow starts coming and even before, to be more prepared. So Dana, how can people get in touch with you to come out and block clubs, churches, different community centers to come out and give your speech about emergency preparedness? And
we would love for people to contact us to get presentations, free emergency preparedness presentations on the basics, or even a program called Map Your Neighborhood that I referenced. Everything is completely free that we do. Border Community Service of Niagara University. We have the contracted service agreements with both the City of Buffalo and Niagara County to do all of their emergency preparedness training. So in the City of Buffalo, I'm actually housed at the Buffalo Police Department headquarters, 74 Franklin. But you can simply call me at 851-4299. In Niagara County, our program can be reached at 205-0077, and someone would be able to come out anywhere in Niagara County to do a presentation there as well. Like I said, everything is free, and not only that, I give you incentive gifts so you can get started on home preparedness, workplace preparedness. Businesses are important too, so if you have a business that you'd like me to speak to your staff about, I absolutely can do that as well. So 851-4299 or 205-0077. I can also be reached via email at dle@niagara.edu.
thank you so much, Dana. We're now ready for winter.
Thank you.
Everybody over there.
Get on up.
Everybody right there.
Get into it.
Everybody right there.
Get involved.
Everybody just